g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds and welcome to another episode of Ask the Cheeseman. Happy New Year 2020 to, we're in Happy New Year at the moment. It's a bit of a time warp, but there you are. Hopefully you're celebrating your New Year's Eve with some cheese, lovely cheese platter. Wouldn't that be lovely? Just like we did on Christmas Day. Had a little bit of a low-key sort of New Year last night. I think I was in bed about 12:30. It was nice. But so how was everybody? Hope you all are well and healthy on the 1st of January 2020. It's weird saying that. I remember when I went back, when I think back to when I was a child, 2020 sounded so far away. So far away. In fact, there was a TV show when I was a kid. I think it was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon called C-Lab 2020. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember that, but very futuristic, and we don't live under the sea at the moment. Probably never will, but anyway, all very cool. A few shout-outs this morning. And a shout-out to new patron, Peter Scherger. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I've mucked that up, Peter, but thank you very much for your patronage on a monthly basis. And thanks to all the YouTube members and patrons for supporting the show, not only throughout 2019, but into 2020. Okay, I think Kim is on the chat there somewhere. Oh, we've just got a new member. Thank you so much. That's Sadie, I think. Thank you so much for your membership, Sadie. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, things that are coming up on the channel. I know we've been a bit slack over December, but, chemo's been, for those who don't know, Kim was diagnosed with early breast cancer. She's undergoing chemotherapy at the moment, and we're just getting into a kind of a routine, if you can get into a routine with chemotherapy. We're finding that her third week, which I think starts today, the third week after each session, is the best week. First 2 weeks are just a bit of a wipeout because the chemo attacks the white blood cells and lowers her immune system, so she's susceptible to all sorts of things. But anyway, it's doing really good. She's on the chat at the moment. She's helping moderate today. So thank you, Kimmy, for all your help. And thanks for the lovely Christmas. It was beautiful. Okay. So coming up on the channel, I've put into unlisted a new Kafili video tutorial, brought up to 2019 standards. I think the last video I made was like in 2013 or something for Kafili. It was one of the very first cheeses that I made on the channel. I've updated it. It's all good. So it's going to be released tomorrow night. So tomorrow night my time. So watch out for that. Kafili video tutorial. I think it's one of my finest productions, if I do say so myself. Anyway, in the cheese cave, maturing at the moment, and under post-production is Buttermilk Blue, is the cheese that I'm working on at the moment. Other than that, really with family being here, we really haven't had any time to make cheese since the last live stream 3 weeks ago. So we've been eating lots of cheese, not so much making cheese. But we'll get started again in next week. I think not next weekend, but the weekend after, we'll be making cheese again. So that'll be good fun. And last but not least, a nice piece of news is that I started a new project. Let me just bring it up on screen number 2. Where are we? There we go. There's no dog. What's going on? Right, there it is. So I've started a separate dedicated podcast channel. Now, those who have been following my exploits for quite a while would know that there is a audio-only podcast that you can find on, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, you name it, it's everywhere, the audio-only version. So I had tampered a little bit with making a vodcast or a video podcast. And I've done a few episodes, about 5 episodes of that, and I put them up on the channel. And I've had fairly good reception. So what I've decided to do is make the audio podcast and a video podcast very rudimentary. It's just a screen with a thing. I'll just bring one up. Where is it? There we are.
You're listening to the Little Green Cheese Podcast.
Hopefully that's going through.
So
you can see there. So that's the audio podcast in video format. I'll just kill that. And we'll just go back. And back to me. There we are. So that's the video podcast. I'll just put the link to the channel in the chat. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the week. I know it's a big ask. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please pop over there. There will be, once I get rid of the backlog of all, there's like 83 episodes. So I'm up to, I processed 26 of them over the last couple of days. They're fairly easy to produce. But once they're there, they're easier to catalog in YouTube than it is in a podcast app. Easy to search because you can put stuff in the description, and because YouTube's the number 2 search engine in the world besides the Google machine, for want of a better thing, it's easier to catalog those. So what I've been doing is putting the listener questions into the descriptions of those videos or podcasts. So bear with me while they're going up one every 2 days. So if you want to listen to them, if you've listened to them already, have another listen. There's a lot of great information there. Get into that and subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell so you get notified. So like I said, every 2 days. Fantastic. Somebody subbed already. Grilled Kip. Thanks, Grilled Kip. That's fantastic. All right, so let's go and say hellos to the lovely community that are watching the show today. Let me just get out of that. And oh, there we go. Now I can see what we've got. We've got 39 concurrent people online. So that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for watching today. I know it's New Year's Eve in most places around the world so far, but we'll get there. Yum. Nice coffee. Okay, first question, we went to the question. G'day to Brug. Ambrose, hello Ambrose, how are you? Roberto, Chris B, g'day Chris, nice to see you on the chat. We've got Omar, g'day Omar. Grill Kip, g'day Grill. Finally here for the live thing, most definitely. Julie from Northern California, I reckon. Ricky Donna, g'day mate, happy holidays. Craig, g'day mate, how are you? Let me have a look. In Russian, what's that mean? Irina, hello Irina, how are you? Bill, g'day Bill. Larry from Deep South Texas. Aga, happy new brie to you too, mate. Northman, somebody's message is gone. Mark R from Daytona Beach, fantastic. And John, g'day John, may the cheeses be with you all. Northman said Happy New Year, thank you very much. Cotton Hollow Distillery, Happy New Year to you too. Unknown, Happy New Year to you. Everybody's looking for something to do on Happy New Year's. ER, Top Keck, K-E-K, don't know what that means. John says, Happy New Year, everyone everywhere, even those lactose intolerant. Nice one. Excuse me. ER, nice little froggy face, like that. Convenient Cheese, well, g'day, how are you? Kim, lovely to see you here, always, as I mentioned. Have I missed anybody else? Gladys, g'day, Gladys. Mark, Avim, I think that's how you say it. Manel, g'day Manel, lovely to see you, mate. The Lazy Crazy Brain, nice. Well, Goody, g'day Goody, and that'll do. And we got some questions. Anyway, let's have a look. Alrighty. Okay. So, let's have a look at the questions, shall we? That's what we're here for. Episode 132, if I haven't already mentioned that already. That's a lot of episodes. Anyway, so Brug has a question. Says, I left buttermilk made with raw cow's milk in the fridge for a few weeks. It formed beautiful wrinkles and folds on the surface. possibly Geotrichum candidum. Can I eat it? Can I repurpose the mold? Thanks, Bruce. I wouldn't. Raw cow's milk that has been left to sour has been acidified, obviously, with the native lactic bacteria that are in the milk. However, it's been in there for a few weeks. All sorts of beasties could have got into it. Your fridge is not the most hygienic place in the house, would you believe? There are lots of molds, yeasts, and all sorts of bacteria that can live in the fridge if the fridge is not at the right temperature. I personally wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. So make your own decision there, Bruce. But yeah, I wouldn't touch it. If it had have been kept, no, I'll go with that. I'll stand with that. So anyway, I wouldn't eat it. Anyway, let's have a look. The next question is from. Oh, the next statement's from Mark R. Cheese and wine are ready for the party. It's only 4:30 p.m. here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Absolutely fantastic. Happy cheese platter to you. Where are we? Convenient Cheese says, what is the easiest hard cheese to make when I'm a beginner cheesemaker? I just ordered your hard cheese kit. Well, thanks for your order. We'll ship that out soon if we haven't already shipped it out already. But we don't start shipping again until the 6th of January. So we'll get it out to you. The easiest hard cheese. Well, would you believe it's the video that I'm just about to put up in the next couple of days, tomorrow night, which is the Kafili video tutorial. Nice, easy. It's probably the best hard cheese to make for beginners because it represents all the basic cheese making techniques. Well, most of them anyway. So from adding cultures, rennet to set the cheese, set the milk, to stirring some curd, to heating a little bit of curd up. You don't want too much heat, but you'll see. And a little bit of cheddaring in there as well. So nice and simple. I've done a really simple cheddaring process this time, which is basically foolproof. So that works really well. And the cheese tastes amazing. It only takes 3 weeks to mature. So you don't have to wait like 6 months for a cheddar cheese or something like that. 3 weeks. So it's Kafili. It's a Welsh cheese, heavily salted though. So if you don't like a lot of salt, maybe not so good, but it really is a great cheese. It's fantastic. You'll see that. There's a taste test included in the video as well. So Convenient Cheese, I would highly recommend making Kafili. So that hard cheese kit that you've got, all the ingredients are there for that cheese. So check that video tutorial out very soon. Okay. ER says, no, I'm sorry, get better quick. I think that's for Kim. But thank you, ER. That's lovely. John says, please clarity about all cheese being lactose-free, i.e. Lysome enzyme processed, had an offline argument with another person who says cheese is not lactose-free. Yeah, I would probably argue on your side, John. Fresh cheese is obviously not. They've got some lactose in them. That's why they taste sweet. Okay, because there hasn't been enough time for the lactose to be fully consumed by the lactic acid or lactic bacteria to convert it into lactic acid. However, cheeses like hard Italian cheeses like Parmesan, Romano, Asiago, that sort of stuff, and Alpine cheeses, mainly made with the higher temperature, so cooked the curds up to about between 48 and say 54 Celsius. And they age for a very, very long time. So there is hardly any lactose left at all in the final process. There may be minor traces, but nothing discernible for anybody who is lactose intolerant. They would be able to eat those sorts of cheeses with relatively without any issues, I would think. And case in point, my daughter, who's lactose intolerant, has tried some of my Parmesan and not had any issues. So that's, I don't know if that's circumstantial evidence, but it worked, and it worked. She didn't get sick. I didn't get bloated or the runs or the sort of stuff that lactose intolerant people get. Anyway, so yeah, John, I'd certainly side with you. There are a lot of hard cheeses that have barely able to be found traces of lactose within them. So I would say they're lactose free. Plus, you got to remember that if you use lactose free milk or milk that has the lactase enzyme added to it to split the lactose into its two component sugars of glucose and galactose, then technically they're lactose free cheeses as well. Anyway, there you go. John says, yay, buttermilk, raw buttermilk blue cheese. This is going to be a real treat to have. It was mainly made with raw milk, John. I used, and you'll see in the video when it comes up in a few weeks' time, I'm just waiting for a bit of blue to bloom on the outside of the cheese before I release the video. I'm not going to do the whole maturation process because it's about 6 weeks, and I don't really want to wait that long for the video to be released. But it is going to be a treat. I think it's very, very creamy. A lot of cream went into it. A lot of buttermilk went into it. In fact, probably 50% of the cheese was actual milk, and the other 50% was buttermilk and cream. So yeah, it was a little bit difficult to handle, but I think the process is okay. It's sound enough, but obviously the taste test will prove that it's okay. But I still will release the video in case anybody wants to have a go at it. Okay, Chris says, is there any cheese you've been excited to try, but when you tasted it, the result was disappointing? With homemade or bought cheese, I got a white Stilton with apricots, PDO, and it was one of the worst ever. Yeah, let me think. Look, I was one of the worst cheeses that I've made. Well, probably not so much the worst, but it wasn't delightful. Was Saint Marcelin. It's a little bloomy white cheese that's in a ceramic bowl, and it gets matured there. Now, when I first tasted it, fantastic, absolutely lovely, great cheese. However, when I left it for 2 weeks longer than it should be, oh, it was shocking. But I tried it, for science, and yeah, I was disappointed. And one of the other cheeses that I was disappointed with, when I did my Cheese a Day challenge back in February last year, I can say last year now because it is, February 2019, there was one cheese, it was a cream cheese by a company called South Cape here in Australia. And it was one of the most disgusting cheese products I've ever tasted. It was fully processed. It was supposed to be a cream cheese, but oh my Lord, I never tasted it. I think had peppercorns or something in it, or cracked pepper. It was disgusting. It was like slime. It was like gloop. It was terrible. Worst cheese on the market. Anyway, so yeah, quite ordinary. So yeah, I have had some. And that white Stilton with apricots, I have bought one that has come out of England, and I've since learnt that how they process white Stilton with whatever. They have it with sometimes ginger, apricots, cranberries. They do it in post-production. So they make the cheese first in the normal truckle, the big wheel, and then they shred the cheese. Shred it? Yeah, they shred it, and then they add the fruit and then repress it into little square blocks, manufactured, put into plastic bags, shipped off to the supermarkets for everybody to eat. So, yeah, I had some with apricots. It wasn't one of my top cheeses. I think it was during that show, actually, during the Cheese a Day challenge. So you can go and check that out too. There is a white Stilton in there somewhere, and there's a playlist for it somewhere. Let me see if I can find the playlist, and that'll help. 2 seconds. playlist, Cheese a Day Challenge. There it is. And excuse me if there's some noise in a second because I can't find the link. Where is the link? The link? I have to play it all to find the link. Oh, there was an ad. I don't want the ad, I just want the playlist. There we go. So there's the link to the playlist. So go check out that. That's the Cheese a Day Challenge on the channel. And yeah, you can see all sorts of cheeses. I tried 28 cheeses in a row over the month of February. So, and I produced a video every single day. So that were some amazing cheeses. I don't know if I'll do a Cheese a Day Challenge again, but it was exciting. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was great fun. Okay, back to the questions. Let's have a look. What have we got? So many questions. I'm lost now. Okay. Avim says, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you about the mead? Yes, you can. I think you might have already down here. We'll have a look at that in a sec. I'm not an expert. I've made one batch. So that one batch does not an expert make. So, yeah, I'll try my best. Mark says, hi, Gavin. I hail a question. Have a question? When you make your cheese making video in order to the ingredients, should you put the quality in not quarter of a teaspoon, but in milliliters? Many thanks. In most videos I do, but measuring spoons are standard. It's a standard worldwide. You should be able to get some measuring spoons. If you go to any kitchen store, there should be measuring spoons, and they do have teaspoons, quarter of a teaspoons, that sort of stuff, because the ingredients we put in are dry mostly. But even the wet ingredients, it's a volume thing. It's not, I don't weigh them by grams or milliliters or anything like that. But where I can, I do put in the ingredients list how many milliliters are in the measured out for each ingredient. Grill Kipt said subbed. I think that's for the podcast channel. Thank you, Grill Kipt. Manel says Happy New Year, Gavin and Kim and all curd nerds. Thank you, Manel. Appreciate it, mate. The lazy crazy brain says, "Oh my God, hi to the future, good sir. It's 10:36 p.m. in December here in Austria. It is a crazy, crazy world, isn't it?" Anyway, Happy New Year to you. Goody says, Happy New Year. G'day, Goody. Ambrose says, hi, Gavin. I made my first cheese before Christmas, a lovely, soft goat's cheese. When I made it, there was curds that set, but the whey still like milk. What should I do differently to prevent this? Must have been fairly milky. So maybe add a little bit more rennet, or especially if you're following, say, the Sherv recipe that I use, the goat's milk cream cheese, which is Sherv. Let me think. So because I add a few drops of rennet to that recipe. So there's the lactic acid, the lactobacteria. So the starter cultures, I add that, which starts the acidification of the milk. But to help it along, I always add a few drops of rennet. So up the rennet dosage, and you'll get less creamier whey, if that makes sense. And it'll be a little bit more clearer. It won't be fully clear. It'll be like a whitey, because remember, goat's milk doesn't have beta carotene in it, or very minor traces of beta carotene, which makes whey go yellow and cheese go yellow over time. Cow's milk cheese go yellow over time, but goat's milk cheeses tend to be very white. So yeah, a little bit more rennet. I think that'll fix it up, Ambrose. Avim says, how do you avoid methanol when you make mead? Well, you add the correct yeast, and you have an airlock. Airlock is absolutely necessary if you're going to make any home brewing production, because that keeps out any yeast that may convert any of the sugars into methanol. It only makes ethanol, which is alcohol, which humans can drink. Methanol makes you go blind. It's not so good. But yeah, absolutely hygiene, airlock, and the yeast that you introduce, and stop any wild yeasts getting in. That's how I do it. Jamie says, cheers from Allegheny. I think that's how you say it. From New York. Cheers to you too, Jamie. Dan says, Gavin, do you ship products to Russia? Unfortunately not. No, we don't ship any of our products to Russia. We tried once. It all got confiscated due to Mr. Putin's ban on cheese imports. So, no, I couldn't export from Australia to Russia. So, unfortunately, they get confiscated. So, there's no point. So, I blocked Russia as a shipping destination for cheese making. Sorry about that, Dan. I wish things were better and I could ship there. G, is that Michelle? Michael? I'm not sure. But I'll call you G. G'day, G. What cheese will you be having to bring in the new year? In the new year. What cheese will I be having to bring in the new year? We've already had our new year. In fact, yesterday I think we had some kefili that I've got left over. It's very nice. I'll go on about kefili because it's such a great cheese. Anyway. Milena says, greetings from Belgrade, Serbia. It's 10:40 p.m. here. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Milena. And Mark says, I'm writing from Italy. Oh, okay, Mark. Thank you. But yeah, you should be able to, even in Italy, you should be able to get teaspoon measures. If not, go on eBay. I'm sure they'll have them and ship them in, or Amazon or what have you. Just look for teaspoon measures, kitchen teaspoon measures. You can't go wrong. But like I said, I do convert to millilitres where I can. Forvo Quizit, g'day mate. The cheese stands alone. Indeed it does. Tony says, Happy New Year, Gavin. I appreciate all your hard work in 2019. Thank you so much, Tony. And there'll be more hard work to come in 2020 to keep it going. Bruce says, thanks for asking my question. No problems, Bruce, at all. Adam says, I think that you made a soft cheese with ash line between the two halves. Couldn't find the video. Can you tell me the name of the cheese video? I have not made anything like, say, Morbier, which is the cheese I think you're referring to. I haven't made a Morbier video, but it is on the list to make of all the cheeses. There's many thousands and thousands of them. So, Adam, there is no video for any ash cheeses with an ash line. I've done cheeses that are coated in ash. If you have a look at the Bloomy Goat Blue, that's the one I coated in ash. And, yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Anyway, Mark says it should be so fine for me having those measures in millilitres. Wish you a Happy New Year. Yes, so yeah, like I said, most recipes have millilitres if you need be. Bruce, g'day, Bruce. Bruce says, g'day, Gavin, and the other cheese nerds. Bethesda, that's how you say it. Woodworks, hello, Gavin, love your channel. Chris from Texas, g'day, Chris. And Dwayne, g'day, Dwayne. And G says, I'm lactose intolerant, but haven't found any issues eating a cheese, and I've tried quite a few types. Well, that's fantastic. I think the harder the cheese, the less lactose it has in it, as I mentioned with John before when he asked the question. All right, I've got a Google Translate thing going on here. Let's see if I can figure out what language that is. It's Mayer Goldenberg. G'day, Mayer. I think that's how you pronounce it. It says, hello, Gavin, what's going on? How do you recommend to age blue Gouda? Does vacuum packing work? Not really. With the blue Gouda that I made, and there's not much blue in it because it's a fairly hard cheese, you need oxygen. The Penicillium Roquefort 40, the blue mold that we introduce into the cheese, needs oxygen to grow. So if you vacuum pack it, it excludes the oxygen and you don't get any blue. It's not very good. Case in point, I vacuum packed pieces of my Shropshire blue that I made and you can see the video somewhere. And Kimmy, you can put up the link to the Shropshire Blue. I vacuum packed that after I'd cut it up and tasted it, because I didn't want any more blue mold to grow, which is great. And we actually had some for Christmas Eve, and my dad kept raving about it. He thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was very strong, very strong. If I had of not vacuum packed that, then it would have still been growing mold and would have been crazy. I wouldn't have been able to store it. It just would have got out of control. So backpacking works great when the cheese is mature for blue cheeses. When you're maturing the blue cheese, a ripening box is the best way to go and keep the mold at bay, by wiping it with a simple brine solution if you want to, or scrape the blue mold off it. But whatever works for you, but don't, whatever you do, vacuum pack your blue cheese during maturation. Just doesn't work. Peppy's Missing Frog says, great name. Can you use yogurt instead of thermophilic culture? You can, but yogurt has an extra culture in it called Lactobacillus lactis subspecies bulgaris, which is a very high acidifier. It acidifies yogurt, so you get that tang to the yogurt, right? If that's introduced into cheese, you'll get that same tang, and it'll change the total flavor profile of your cheese. Now, in cheeses like mozzarella and, say, provolone, if you're making them in the traditionalish kind of method, yeah, you can use yogurt to get a fast acidification, so you can hit that stretch point a lot faster. That's the cases that I've used yogurt instead of thermophilic culture, and that works well. I think I've also used yogurt in, what was it? Paneer. Paneer helps acidify the curds as well as the lemon juice, and it gives a bit of flavour to the cheese. So in those examples, yes, though you can, if you're making a stretch curd cheese, a little bit of thermophilic culture in the form of yogurt. If you don't have thermophile, then yeah, you can use it. However, for cheeses like Parmesan and Romano and all those hard Italian cheeses, or the Swiss style cheeses that form eyes, you really can't use it. It doesn't work. But yeah, great question. Thanks, Peppy. Manel says, when you make Buddha-Kaiser, oops, I've just lost the question. Manel, where are you? When you make Buddha-Kaiser, you add it to warm water to wash the curd. What is the temperature? Water notes on the video you wrote 140 Fahrenheit, and when you say you should the whey and the water equal temperature. I'd have to go and check, Manel. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the video. I can't remember everything that I ever produced. But shoot me an email, mate, and I'll answer that one for you. I'll go and dig deeper and have a look in the recipe. I think I might have typed it up, so I can share that with you if you shoot me an email. All right, the lazy crazy brain says, any plans on making another hot cheese like triple pepper jack? Yeah, maybe in the future. That was to the extreme. I just wanted to take it to the extreme for YouTubers. YouTube people do. Those crazy YouTubers. I'd like to make another chili style cheese, but probably a harder one. So something like, I think I did Asiago with peppercorns once, and that turned out to be a really nice, fairly mellow sort of cheese. I'd like to spice something like that up with some chili peppers. And I don't know if I would rub the chipotle rub all over it again, because I found out after the fact, even though it didn't say it, it said it must have had salt in it because of the amount of whey that was in the vacuum pack bag that had got released after I'd vacuum packed it. So I don't know if I'd use the chili rub again, maybe at maturation time, but I certainly wouldn't put it on during just as I've made it. Mona Lisa says, Gavin, say hello to Brazil. I'm a big fan. Hello, Brazil. And what's this at? Fortaleza Ciara. I think that's how you pronounce it. Can't remember. I'm not sure. But yeah, hello. Happy New Year to you. Sadie, who's now a member, and he's got his little new member icon. So cool on the chat. Thanks, Sadie. When would it be a good time to order cultures from your shop? Delivery will be Istanbul, and it takes about 10 days express. I ask for heat and sustainability wise. Yeah, so it should be fairly cool in Istanbul. Probably not so cool here. We get it out within the, so you place it, well, from the 6th onwards, 6th of January onwards. Yeah, we will start dispatching, but it won't be for a few days. But if you mark it as International Express, mate, then what we'll do is we get it out as quick as we can. Usually it's left Melbourne in the same day. The warehouses are not air conditioned. I know that for a fact. So anything Australia Post will sit there for a day or so. So it's not too bad at the moment. I don't know. January, February usually get hotter. I don't know how much hotter we can get here in Australia with all the bushfires and no rain and it's just freaking chaos. But look, any time's fine. We'll get it out as quick as we can. Usually it's left Melbourne in a day. So the cultures are designed to last in their freeze-dried packaging for, I think it's 14 days at 30 degrees Celsius. So it'll be fine. Once it leaves the country in the plane, it should be in Istanbul fairly quickly. Sure, it'll take 10 days, but it'll usually be in country within 2 to 3 days. 2 days. Depends on how express their express is. Alrighty. Edgar says, New York invented cream cheese. I find that hard to believe. I really do. That the city of New York or the state of New York invented cream cheese. I think cream cheese was one of the first cheeses that was made by the Sumerians and the Babylonians way back in the day in the Fertile Crescent. Besides, it was one of the first lactic cheeses, cream cheese. If you're talking about Philadelphia cream cheese or that style of cream cheese, that processed gunk, then yeah, maybe you invented it, but a pretty bold statement, I would say. Edgar. Alrighty. Dwayne says, what are your thoughts on mixing cheese with seafood? Well, one of the seafood, let me think. So, I've had a lovely lobster thermidor, which has cheese all over it and a cheese sauce. That's nice. When you have smoked salmon, cream cheese, as per Edgar's thing invented in New York, apparently, cream cheese is always used with it with a little bit of dill. I think it's got in it. Very, very nice. But yeah, cheese with seafood's very nice. A nice pasta marinara or a spaghetti marinara always has a cheesy sort of base or a cream white sauce base. Absolutely delicious. There you go. There's my thoughts. I wouldn't mix it in making it because seafood is susceptible, if not cooked properly, to all sorts of bacterial infections. So I would not mix the cheese with seafood in the manufacturing of the cheese. I just would not do it. Too much chance. Yeah, too much chance of infection. Sorry, Dwayne. Mona Lisa says, and I listen you for to hear English, I think. I make goat's cheese. Well, congratulations. Nice goat's cheese. I love it. Mark is speaking Italian, which I can't understand, but thanks. Avim says thanks. No problems at all. John Lord says, on YouTube's America's Test Kitchen milk wine video, if off tasting mead, pour the mead into stirred milk, allow the mead to curdle, filter, toss the curds, pulls out any flavours, tannins, acidic phenols. Very nice. Well done. Mark says, can you give me the answer to my previous inquiry in order to the millimetres? I think I already did. Where are we? Edgar says, can you make sweet or regular provolone like the sliced kind used in sandwiches? Yes, I've made provolone before, and there is a video for it. And Kim, if you can put the link up to provolone, I know I'm way behind here. Oh no, about 15 minutes. That's okay. You can put the provolone video up for Edgar. That'll be fantastic. Chris says they have all manner of unusual cheeses around Christmas in UK supermarkets. Stilton with mint and chocolate, gingerbread Wensleydale, red Leicester in the shape of a Santa. Cheese a Day challenge was great, by the way. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, that everybody goes for the novelty stuff at Christmas, don't they? We had so much cheese here on Christmas Eve, but we couldn't eat it all. There was just too much. So I've still got some wrapped up. I had to take it out of its vacuum packing. So all the cheeses on the cheese platter were mine, except for a bloomy white triple brie from King Island Dairy, which is one of the good cheese producing dairies here in Australia. And yeah, that was delightful. But everybody loved the cheeses that I made, so that was good fun. Okay. Dwayne says, "What's the strongest tasting cheese you have ever tried?" Ooh, let me think. I had a one, or was it 2 year old goat's Gouda, I think, and that was very strong. So that was very nice. I don't know the name of it. It was just like in a nondescript sort of package. It said aged goat's cheese. I went, goat's Gouda, sorry. So I tried that. Very, very nice. The other day, though, like I said, Christmas Eve, cheese platter, Shropshire Blue, pulled out its packet. I tasted some, and it was so strong that I got, it's not there now, but I got a lump on the side of my tongue because it was so bitey. Um, Very strong. So I only had like 3 pieces of it, but yeah, that was a very, very strong cheese. So Shropshire Blue was the one that was very, very strong. Tasty, but strong. Um, and I've made Parmesan. The first one or two of the first Parmesans I made were very, very strong as well. A lot of lipase in them. So anyway, Mark says, "Many kind greetings and thanks. I'm due to depart with my crew to Oslo. I'd like to be there in your warm, sunny country." Thanks, Mark, but I'm telling you not, we don't want to be here in our warm, sunny country. It's so freaking hot. The fires are crazy. If you haven't seen the fires, just have to go on the news and you'll see them all. Naman says, "Happy New Year, Mr. Gavin." Happy New Year, Naman. And you go on to say, "Can you please teach us how to make halloumi cheese?" And thankfully, Kim, who's on the ball today very well, has put up the link to the how to make halloumi. Thank you, Kim. Okay, so the lazy crazy brain says, "Can you introduce botulin toxins when you vac pack a cheese?" Not that I know of. Excludes all the air. I know that they can live without air, but no, never come across it. As long as everything's clean, you're trying to keep a fairly clean environment even in the home setting when you're making cheese. Okay, Patricia. Hello, Patricia. Happy New Year to you as well. Lovely to see you on the line. Yeah, let me see. Eric says, "New subscriber here. Just wanted to say I love your videos. I'm learning a lot." Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it, mate. Dwayne, Happy New Year, Patricia. Oh, everybody's talking to Patricia. JS says, "Can you make some Swedish head dost?" Oh, pronouncing these things is crazy. I don't know what that is. Let me just have a look. Before we do, somebody's thrown up a super chat, and you can see the Kurd Nerd sign going. Oh, it's all going off the super chat there. Thank you, Laura. Let me just fix the sign, stop it from flashing. Thank you, Laura, for your $5 Canadian. I appreciate it. Do you have a question in there? Yes, you do. My beer-infused cheddar, aged 2 months, is wet and squidgy under the wax. And less firm than my other cheeses. What could be going on there? Oh, good question. The essential bit to the beer infused cheddar that I made was to air dry it, make sure it was touch dry or fairly dry on the surface, even to the point where it was starting to dry out and go a little bit yellow. Um, and then I vacuum packed it, and it was fine. I don't think there was any. I'm just remembering back to the taste test. I know it tasted amazing. There was no moisture in the bag, if I remember rightly. What could be going on there? You could have left the curd size too large, and that could have retained too much whey. So then, when you put it under pressure and vacuum packing, the moisture gets drawn out. That's one thing that could happen. Not enough salt during the process could be another thing. I remember when after we salt the cheese, so we salted the curds, put them um, into the mold sorry, we infuse it with beer, then salt it, and then put it in the mold, press it, try and get as much whey as we can. That's what the salt's for. If you haven't used enough salt, that's another sign by getting whey under the wax as well. I found that 2 to 2.7% of salt per weight of cheese is the best. So for a 10 litre batch, I normally put in it's about 2 tablespoons of salt. Don't know what that is in grams, but I did work it out once. But yeah, that's the best thing. So it could be lack of salt, and it also could be curd size too large. So there's some tips for you. Thank you very much, Laura. Um, where was I up to? Dwayne says, the Swedish cheese, which I can't see. Let me have a look. So a googly search for that. It is a semi-hard Swedish cheese made from cow's milk since 1890s. It's called Manor House cheese. And we've got another super chat there. Fantastic. Turbo Jones. What the? Turbo Jones says, with a picture of a lady there, the little old lady who, I just made you a yodel. Happy New Year from Bavaria. Bit cryptic, but yeah, thank you very much for your $5 super chat. Appreciate it, Turbo Jones. Um, okay, back to the questions. Serving. Sorry, back to the Hedegast. I think that's. Don't know how to pronounce it. Um, Wikipedia says it's a hard cheese. Is there a picture? Yeah, there's a picture. It looks a little bit like Jarlsberg. It's got some eyes. Nice. Manufacturing wheels about 16 inches by 4.7 inches. Weighs about 14 kilograms. My goodness. Starts with pasteurised semi-skim milk. Yeah. Okay. So very similar to Jarlsberg then, but probably doesn't taste the same. Looks nice. I'll have to look at find a recipe for it, but I'll have a look. Okay. Dwayne says serving cheese with seafood is okay. So serving it with seafood, yeah, great, no probs. I've had lots of seafood dishes with cheese. Patricia goes on to say, cheese and seafood, a maritime treat is lobster, mac and cheese. Oh, nice. And cheddar sauce over sole on spinach is nice. Very good. Thanks you. Lovely tips there, Patricia. Thank you. Risa says speak Indonesian languages. Salamat pagi. There you go. That's the best out of all the years of Indonesian that I ever did at high school. That's all I can remember. Anyway, John says a working fresh seafood and a cream sauce. Make both items separately. Pressure cooker, steam the seafood, saving full calories and nutrition. Then pour the sauce and mix and serve. Very nice. Laura says, g'day from Canada. I think it's the same Laura that shot me the super chat minute ago. Joining a little late. That's okay. Kim said, put up the link to the provolone. Thank you very much. Ambrose says, thanks for your advice, Gavin. Also, my mum is asking if you got the Glamorgan sausage recipe okay. Yes, I did. Thank you so much. It was so interesting. So they're kind of like well, what we would say here, rissoles, but without any meat. So they look lovely. So I'm going to give them a go. We do have some kefili left, so I will make the Glamorgan sausage. Kim looked at the recipe and said it looked fantastic as well. So thank you so much for that, Ambrose. And yeah, I love the handwriting. That was so nice, and the photo of the recipe. That was brilliant. Brain. What have we got? Dwayne and everybody's having a chitty chat. All right, Doctor Queso, whoever Doctor Queso is, Doctor Cheese, says, "Hi Gavin, Happy New Year. Greetings from New Zealand. Question: what percentage of calcium has raw milk, and how much is lost in pasteurisation?" Oh, don't know that one. Can't answer it. I don't know what percentage is lost during pasteurisation, but I know there's a fair bit. And I think a lot of milk manufacturers actually add calcium back into the milk after pasteurisation, but not the type we use for cheese making. So I don't know. I suppose a quick Wikipedia could do it, but I will not have the time, seeing it's 20 past the hour, and it finishes in a minute. The lazy crazy brain said, "Would you make a room tour of which room?" Not sure what you're talking about. This room? No. The set is the set. There's not much to it. It's my office where I work. So that's my room tour. Patricia says, my bloomy goat blue will be taste tested tomorrow by my in-laws. Oh, nice. First tasting, I have no idea what it tastes like. Wish me luck. My marriage may be on the line. Nice one, Patricia. Yeah, I hope fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for you. Should be absolutely fantastic. Laura says, thanks for the answer. Appreciate it. No problems, Laura. Hope it turns out better next time. But hey, I've had cheeses like that in the early days when I first started making them, and I figured out that mainly I wasn't adding enough salt was the main, and not getting the curd size consistent. So Laura, that's hopefully that's the solution for you. However, I have patted those cheeses down with paper towel and consume them, and they're nice. You'll find they may be crumblier too, a little bit crumbly going on, if that's the case. Andre says, "Hi G, hi. I'm from South Africa. Currently struggling to get firm curds from recently bought animal-based rennet. Do you know how a quick test to confirm the rennet is not old or of lesser strength?" I can test. You get a quarter cup of milk, warm it up to blood temperature, which is about 36-ish degrees Celsius. Add about 3 drops of rennet into it, and it should set within about 10 minutes. That way, you'll know that your rennet's good. That's the quick test. But usually, it probably won't be the rennet. It'll be the milk, if anything. I'm not sure how they process milk in South Africa, whether it's ultra pasteurised, but try and avoid any heat treated milk. So, if you can get your hands on some raw milk, and it may be difficult, but you got to know the source as well to make sure it's clean. But if you can get pasteurised unhomogenised, then fantastic. It'll set a curd a lot better. Just make sure that the pasteurisation method used is not ultra pasteurised, which essentially they nearly boil the milk and it's denatured. There's no calcium in it whatsoever. It won't form a curd structure. The casein won't come together, which is part of the milk, to form that mesh that makes the curd set. So less heat treatment, the better. And whatever you do, don't use UHT milk, because you will not get a curd set, whatever you do. Dwayne says, can you freeze cheese? Will it affect its quality and texture? Yeah, you can freeze cheese. The harder ones that are better to freeze, so things like grated Parmesan, cheddar, that sort of stuff, should be okay. I've even seen cheese in cans, and they seem to last okay, because remember, during the canning process, cheese is heated up. Yeah, so freezing cheese, yeah, you can do that. But soft cheeses, no, they separate and they go gluggy and they're a bit yucky. So hopefully, Dwayne, that answers your question. Jim, g'day, Jim Jackson. How are you, mate? Greetings, Gavin. It's great to catch you live as being as I didn't get the notice that you were doing this today. Hopefully Kim is doing well. She's okay, mate. We're in the third week, well, just approaching the third week of this second chemo session, so she's okay. Grill Kip says, how long is your list, Gavin? It's about 100 cheeses long at the moment. It's a big list. It's a big list, I'm telling you now, as far as lists go. What did I do? I worked out the other day. I can't remember what it was. It was 114 cheeses that I've made so far, maybe more. Or was it 141? I can't remember. It was a lot of cheese. I went through the channel and checked all the videos, and I think I've shown most of the cheeses that I've made, even some of the disasters. But there are so many. I think last counts, there were about 2,000 to 3,000 different types of cheese in the world, that were unique when you make them. So will I ever get to the end? Who knows? Depends on how long I live, I suppose, and how many cheeses I make each weekend. But yeah, all good fun. All right, Dr. Casero says, hi, Gavin, what percentage of calcium? I didn't know. Sorry about that. And Chris says, how important is the size in curd cutting? Can I do it with a whisk or by hand? I've seen a video of a guy making with raw milk and calf stomach rennet. He cut the curd by stirring it up with his hands only. It depends on the cheese. The harder the cheese, the smaller the curd size. The softer the cheese, the larger the curd size. Sometimes there are no curds cut at all, like in the form of, say, brie, camembert, and even some soft blue cheeses. You don't cut the curd. You just cut slivers of it with a scoop and put them into the mold. So yeah, like I said, the rule of thumb is the softer the cheese, the larger the curd size, the harder the cheese, the smaller the curd size. It expels whey. That's what you cut. When you cut the curd, you expel whey from the curds. And that's the purpose of cutting the curds. So the size is important indeed. Depends on what the cheese the guy was making when he was whacking his hands through it. So anyway, Scott says, hello from Ohio. Sorry, I'll get that right. And we are nearly at the end. I've got 3 minutes to go. Kim is starting to give me the wind up. Let's see if I can get any quickies in there. Laura says, another one for you. My partner despises the smell of vinegar. Any ideas? Any other natural alternative? There's a chemical called Idafor, which is about as natural as it comes. Cheesemakers use it. You could use that, but it does stain things. The only other thing I can think of is bleach, wheat bleach solution, but that's probably just as bad. So I don't know, vinegar. Try a different type of vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is not as strong as white, but it still does the same thing. Try that. It's just the acetic acid is what you're after to neutralize all the yeasts and molds in the area where you make your cheese. Okay, all right. Kim's giving me the wind up. Sorry about that. No more questions. Thank you so much, and don't forget to go and check out the other channel, the goodie. Where the heck is it? Where's my channel gone? I'm gonna get back there. There we go. This one. Hang on. Let me put it up. Don't forget the Little Green Cheese podcast channel. We've had a few subscribers since I had a chat there. Oh, Relief Heartburn. That's nice. So yeah, it's fantastic. Those people have subscribed since I put it up there. I'll pop the link up again in the stream. Hang on. I'll just copy that. Pop it into the stream. Where's the enter button? There we go. So if you haven't already subscribed, pop over there. If you want to listen to the Little Green Cheese podcast in video format, and there will be proper videos of me taping the show for an audio audience, if that makes sense. And hopefully I'm going to get some guests. I've got to figure out how to do this split screening thing. I know there's some software out there to do it. So when I have interviews, you'll see me, Muggins here, and the person I'm interviewing on the screen. So hopefully that'll be good. Okay, so sorry, just do the wrap up. Our store is at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. The link's there. Patreon, if you want to support the show financially, or hit the join button below, YouTube membership. And if you want to get a lovely t-shirt or a mug, certified curd nerd. What t-shirt am I wearing? Slapped it on this morning. Oh, certified curd nerd. You can pop that. You can get those over at Teespring, and there's a merch shelf down below. So check that out. Kim says the next show will be on the 7th Tuesday. Yes, it'll be next Tuesday, due to Kim having a next chemo session next week. So we're going to get early in the week on Tuesday. So I'll schedule that out, and hopefully you'll get notified of it. And a happy new year to everybody. And may 2020 be a better year than 2019. Anyway. And as John says, may the cheese be with you all. Happy cheesy new year. And we'll see you next week on Tuesday. See you later, curd nerds.